Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Metropolis. Opening Awakening Space Ability. Chapter 1. Time Travel to Become a Sick Child. It's almost time for the awakening of abilities. I'm so excited and nervous. I don't know what level of abilities I will awaken, let alone enhanced abilities, otherwise it will be miserable. Be content. Enhanced powers are not weak. They are better than those without powers, otherwise you can only cultivate chi and blood. I heard that chi and blood cultivation is very hard and consumes a lot of resources. Quote. At least we still have a choice. Unlike some people, if they don't have the ability to awaken, they can only go to an ordinary university and become an ordinary person. If they don't perform well, there is no need to move bricks. Quote. In a daze, Su Ming felt a sense of weakness in his body, and couldn't help frowning. He wanted to get up and move around, but found that it was extremely difficult for him. What's the situation? Why is my body so weak? In other words, I have stayed up all night to brush up questions these days, and I haven't done anything else. Before he could think about it, countless memories flooded his brain like a tidal wave, and Su Ming showed an uncomfortable expression on his face. I have time traveled. With the memory being read, Su Ming already understood what he was in now. Although his name had not changed, this was no longer the world he was familiar with. Alien beasts, abilities, blood. These are the keynotes of this world, and becoming stronger through cultivation is what everyone pursues most. Perhaps because of the difference in the world, Su Ming feels that his perception of his body is much stronger. I can clearly feel that the weakness of my body is not due to weakness, but more like carrying some heavy weight on my body, consuming most of my strength. Damn it. Others are the chosen ones through time travel. How come I'm a sick child? Isn't this a terrible start? Su Ming couldn't help but thought with a wry smile. Only after knowing this world can he realize how miserable his previous life was. Generally speaking, supernatural powers can be awakened by everyone. There is no such thing as natural supernatural powers. Supernatural powers can only be realized through awakening. Because before the cracks in the universe appeared, supernatural powers did not exist in this world, that is to say, the natives of this world themselves did not have the conditions for supernatural powers. The reason why the ability can be awakened now is because the cracks in the universe not only brought alien beasts, but also alien elements. The human body has received the alien elements, so it has the conditions for awakening the ability. According to the different physique of each person, the types of awakened abilities are different, and the strengths and weaknesses are also different. Some people's abilities can make him a leader in this world, and some people's abilities are no different from awakening after awakening. The gap between abilities is difficult to make up. Of course, apart from supernatural powers, cracks also brought another way to become stronger in this world, that is chi and blood cultivation. Although some people can't awaken their supernatural powers, their bodies have also been changed by alien elements, and they can integrate their own energy into their blood and become a means of attack. Ability and chi and blood have become the main means for human beings to protect themselves from the mouths of alien beasts. If they can't get involved in both, then they can only be a low-level ordinary person honestly, and they can be understood by alien beasts at any time. Crisis. But for Su Ming, although there are many two choices, for him, between the ability and the blood, the only thing he can choose is the ability. After all, it's unrealistic to ask a person who is struggling to sit here to cultivate chi and blood. In other words, if he can't awaken a good ability, even if he goes out to move bricks, no one will necessarily ask for it. Hey, the sick man in our class is waking up. He's about to awaken his abilities today, so he can't sleep. Sensing the movement on Su Ming's side, the students on the side couldn't help joking. People who can study in school and are ready to accept the awakening of supernatural powers must have IQ, and they will not look down on Su Ming just because he is a sick child. Although it is said that having a good body is the prerequisite for both supernatural powers and chi and blood cultivation, but it cannot be beaten to death with a stick. There used to be a weak person, but finally awakened the elemental perception power, and one person guarded one city. Being arguing by you next to me, I am possessed by the Pope, and I have to consider whether to change places. Su Ming curled his lips and said, sighing involuntarily. Yes, today is the time for the awakening of abilities. I don't know what kind of abilities I can awaken. I hope it's not too bad. It's okay. It's this time. It's boring to think about it, don't worry. Anyway, if you are a classmate, even if you can't awaken a good ability, with our help, you won't be left on the street. The boy who spoke to him before patted Su Ming on the shoulder and said, Su Ming knew this person, his name was Zhao Peng, and he copied his predecessor's homework a lot. Although he knew that the other party had good intentions, he had to complain at the moment that this guy was using too much strength. Tisk tisk tisk. What a show of loyalty. Not to mention whether you guys can awaken your abilities, even if you do, with your family background, buying resources to improve yourself is not enough, and you still have the energy to help a sick child. Give me a break. Originally, the atmosphere was pretty good, but I don't know if there is something wrong with the voice of saying this or something. This sentence made people feel very uncomfortable. Li Ming. If you don't speak, no one will treat you as dumb. If you can't speak, don't open your mouth. There is Ming in your name. Why is there such a big gap? Zhao Peng immediately turned his head and said with a bad expression. The other people also looked at him in the same way, obviously not welcoming this Li Ming. Hey, don't compare me with the sick man, okay? After all, even if I can't awaken my talent, it's not a big problem. Who made my family rich? Li Ming grinned and said. The mean expression on his face made people look like beating him up. However, this Li Ming is from a superior background, he is a rich second generation, and he is provided with potions and exotic animal meat all day long. Although he has not yet awakened his powers, his blood is much higher than ordinary people. If he really wants to do it, Zhao Peng, these people really might not be able to hold him down. What makes Su Ming a headache is that this guy has a little bit of a problem with his predecessor, mainly because the two names have a certain degree of similarity, and it is inevitable that they will be compared. Although his predecessor was weak, his cultural achievements were his strong point. Before the awakening of his abilities, the school still looked at his cultural achievements, so Li Ming matched his predecessor. What are you still dawdling about? Hurry up and gather at the playground, don't you want to awaken your abilities? Just when the two parties were about to clash, the head teacher's voice interrupted the confrontation, and most people, including Li Ming, hurried out of the classroom. Compared with qi and blood cultivation, abilities are the ideal way for everyone to become stronger. Chapter 2. With the support of Zhao Peng, Su Ming also came to the playground smoothly. At this moment, the bustle of the past was gone on the school playground. Although there were many people, they all stood neatly within the prescribed area. A large field in the middle was vacated, and a stone of different colors was erected, surrounded by dense instruments. On the edge of the field are the Union commissioners in uniform, commissioners from the Alliance of Supernatural Beings. Although not all of them are supernatural beings, the worst ones are those on the 5th level of vitality. From these people, one can clearly feel the danger. There is no doubt that these people have fought against strange beasts. Under the guidance of the teacher, the students in the 3rd grade walked into the open space to gather, and the students in the 1st and 2nd grades watched the awakening outside the circle. Although it has been several years since the cracks in the universe have appeared, the real awakening of supernatural powers has only begun in recent years. On the one hand, these unknown things need to be sorted out at the national level, and on the other hand, the situation facing human beings is somewhat not optimistic anymore. Principal, you said that this time of awakening, can our school have an ability with a rating of A? Outside the arena, looking at the passionate emotions in the eyes of the senior 3 students, the teaching director Xie Tuzi asked the principal beside him. It's hard to say. The awakening of abilities all depends on one's physique and luck. If we can produce an A-level ability, our school will be considered complete. The principal sighed and said, why doesn't he want to be able to produce a high-rated ability? In this way, the famous brand effect of the school can be described as even more powerful. Not only can you apply for more resources from the above, but also stimulate the ability to recruit students. However, he also knows how difficult it is for A-level rated abilities to appear. From the appearance of cracks to the present, there are only so many who can reach A-level, and all of them are the top combat power of the Alliance. Compared with A-level abilities, CD-level abilities are the most common awakening, and B-level abilities are rare. Of course, this is also related to the Alliance's incomplete research on abilities. Some abilities were judged as D-level at the beginning of awakening, but after the abilities are developed to a certain extent, it is possible to re-evaluate them. On the playground, the high school seniors were trying their best to keep quiet, but the excitement on their faces couldn't be suppressed. Everyone here hoped that they could awaken their awesome abilities, and then reach the top with one blockbuster. But don't even think about it. If good abilities are so easy to produce, how can there be so few thrones in the alliance? Su Ming sighed slightly. The expression on his face was not rich. He didn't expect much from himself. He was satisfied with a C-level rating. At least a C-level rating would allow him to have a certain degree of confidence in this dangerous world. Self-preservation ability. The awakening of supernatural powers starts now. Just come up when you call someone's name. Don't talk. Don't be nervous. Just put your hands on this stone and wait. I will remind you when the awakening is over. Are you clear? The middle-aged man near the awakening stone spoke. Although he did not use a loudspeaker, his voice was clearly heard by everyone. Now for the first one, Robo. As soon as the words were finished, a boy with a cropped cut came out, looking impatient, but also terrified. Just put your hands on the rocks, then let go of your thoughts, don't think about anything, and you'll be fine all at once. The middle-aged man spoke. Luobo nodded, and put his hands on the awakening stones of different colors. In an instant, the awakening stone released a faint brilliance, streams of light spread on the surface, as if this stone was alive. At the same time, Luobo's body also began to change. His exposed skin began to become rough, with cracks appearing, but it gave people an indestructible feeling, as if bullets could be blocked by Luobo's skin. Enhanced powers, it should be C-level at this level. The middle-aged man's brows slightly widened. B-level powers are hard to come by. This awakened one has C-level power, which is indeed something to be happy about. At this stage, the Ability Alliance divides abilities into enhanced, elemental, spiritual, and unknown types, among which enhanced and elemental types are more common. Like Luobo's ability, if it is placed on the alien beast battlefield, it is a proper tank. Generally speaking, the treatment of enhanced abilities is like this. Of course there are exceptions. Not long after, there was a sound from the instrument on the side, and the strength of the ability reached C-level. Wow. The first one is C-level strength. Luobo is about to take off now. This Luobo belongs to our class. If you need contact information, please contact me. The price is absolutely fair. No way. I usually see this kid as mediocre, but I didn't expect him to be extraordinary once he makes a move. C-level strength ability. Can you go to the Imperial Capital University of Ability? This boy Luobo can awaken C-level, so I can't go up to B-level. Luobo's successful awakening has given many people great confidence that their awakened ability will not be worse than him. Next, Wang Shanxiang. Enhanced Class F. Time passed slowly, and the C-level ability was a good start, but this level of ability is not a Chinese cabbage. As more and more people are awakened, naturally some people are happy and others are worried. Those who didn't have the ability to awaken, or whose rating was too low, were all distraught, and those whose abilities reached D level were full of excitement. D level ability, a watershed level. If you reach the standard, you can enter the University of Abilities. Without D level ability, you can only cultivate qi and blood or become an ordinary person. Next, Su Ming. Hearing his name, Su Ming took a deep breath and walked slowly towards the awakening stone. Zhao Peng behind him made a cheering gesture to him. Su Ming would like to say something about this. This is not a competition. If you work hard, you may win, but this ability is awakened. It seems that you can only fart if you work hard. Putting his hand on the awakening stone, Su Ming felt a cool feeling entering his body from the stone, and there was an energy echoing in his body. He guessed that the so-called supernatural awakening is to use this stone to mobilize the alien molecules absorbed by the body to combine with the human body, and the final product obtained is supernatural power. But at this time, Su Ming suddenly discovered that the energy transmitted from the awakening stone seemed to be eaten by his body, and it was rapidly decreasing, and he found that the mysterious weight pressing him was also slowly changing. Weak. The middle-aged man in charge of the awakening let out a sigh, looking at the twinkling awakening stone with a confused face. What's the situation? This awakening stone is not a light bulb. Why is it flickering due to poor contact? Just when he was about to interrupt Su Ming, he suddenly felt a blur in front of him, and a fat face appeared in front of him. Damn. What the hell? The middle-aged man was so frightened that his hair stood on end. He slapped him without thinking, and the poor fat woman was slapped away. At this time, the middle-aged people realized that they actually appeared in the student queue. Chapter 3. The sudden change immediately attracted everyone's attention. Seeing the middle-aged man who suddenly appeared in the queue of students and fanned a fat girl away, whether it was a teacher or a student, everyone's eyes widened. Damn it. What happened just now? Why did the awakener suddenly come to our side? Could it be that the girl became a strange beast? It's so dangerous, we actually became classmates with a strange beast. No. Look at the awakening master's expression, he is clearly frightened. It's definitely not what he wanted to do. The students talked a lot, but they ignored Su Ming who was awakening. After all, compared with the flashing lights on his side, the movements on the awakening master's side were obviously much louder. This is me, my spatial location ratio has changed. Could it be? The middle-aged man quickly regained his composure. Although he was startled by the sudden appearance of a pig's head in front of him, the person who can be an awakener is not an ordinary person, and he still has some psychological qualities. Just when he was guessing what caused his space position to change, there was a new change at the awakening stone. The twinkling awakening stone suddenly released a silver-white light, and at the same time, there was some distortion around it, and the surrounding precision instruments also sounded out of order. Not good. Open the protective barrier. The awakener's face changed, and he shouted to the surrounding alliance commissioners. In the blink of an eye, Su Ming and the awakening stone were isolated by a layer of blue shield. But this layer of shield persisted for less than 3 seconds before it completely collapsed. Shield breaks at the molecular level, my lord. A professional said to the awakener with an ugly face. Just as the awakener made some moves, the sense of distortion disappeared, the awakening stone returned to calm, and a grade C grade appeared on the instrument. Unknown C-level ability. How is it possible? Seeing this result, the awakening master said with a face full of ghosts. The protective barrier built by the alliance collapsed in less than 3 seconds. How could such a power be only C-level? What's the situation? Such a big movement, just a C-level ability, who are you pretending to scare? There's a lot of thunder and little rain, I thought it was something amazing, that's it. I know this Su Ming. He is a sick child. He usually has good academic performance. The C-level ability is already very good for him. If he doesn't have the awakening ability, he will not be able to do chi and blood cultivation. Looking at the movement just now, I thought it was a B-level or A-level ability, but it turned out to be a C-level ability, which is somewhat unacceptable. Your name is Su Ming, right? Stay here after the awakening ceremony is over. I need to confirm your situation. The awakener returned to the awakening stone, looked at Su Ming with weird eyes and said, as for the fat woman who was blown away by him, the alliance commissioner has already carried her down for a physical examination. Oh, Su Ming responded in a perfunctory manner. The impact on him at that moment was a little bit severe. At this moment, he is not interested in the words of the awakener at all. Is this my golden finger? Looking at the virtual interface that appeared in front of him, Su Ming muttered thoughtfully, based on his countless experience in reading books, this is the system. Name: Su Ming. Level: Elementary low-level ability user, Elementary low-level practitioner. Ability: Space control. Skills: None. Evolution points: 1000. Through the system interface, Su Ming can understand his own situation in detail. He is very disdainful of the C-level ability score given by the Alliance instrument. Control the space. Just by hearing the name, you can know that your ability cannot be only C-level, let alone other things, the ability that can touch the space, where can it be low-end? Not to mention that I am in control. Grade C. What kind of broken instrument is this? The awakening master suddenly appeared in the queue of students just now. Others didn't know what happened, but Su Ming understood a little bit. In the final analysis, the awakener was too close to him. When his ability was activated by the awakening stone, it affected the space around him. If Su Ming's ability had not just awakened, the awakener might not have known where to throw it. Where did it go? Now Su Ming feels that, with his body as the center, a circular area with a radius of 5 meters, any place, as long as he wants, he feels that he can appear in that place immediately. Moreover, the surrounding space gave him a very special feeling. Logically speaking, space is an abstract concept. You know the concept of space, but you can't touch it. But now Su Ming feels that he can touch it with his hand. It is the same as encountering the so-called space. Student Su Ming, how do you feel now? A kind voice pulled back Su Ming's thoughts. He was somewhat familiar with this voice, it was the principal's voice. It's okay, I feel very relaxed. Su Ming came back to his senses and said, it was his predecessor who was familiar with the principal, but not him, and suddenly he was stared at by an old man with a smile, which was really unacceptable. Really? That's good. By the way, do you know the aspect of the ability you awakened? The principal smiled awkwardly, then looked at Su Ming expectantly and asked. The Awakener has just said that the unknown sea-level ability, and no matter how much reference value the sea level has, the movement made by Su Ming just now, the sea level is obviously unrealistic, but this requires further demonstration by the Alliance. But this unknown category makes people very curious. Although the Alliance has collected a large amount of information on abilities and classified them, abilities are still a novelty for the Alliance at this stage, and it is impossible to study them thorough. The so-called unknown category refers to abilities that have never appeared before and have special abilities. Generally speaking, except for the awakened person, even the Alliance cannot find any relevant information about the appearance of such abilities. It's not very clear, but it feels like it should have something to do with the spatial location, like if I want to appear behind you, principal. As soon as the words fell, Su Ming suddenly disappeared from in front of the principal, and then appeared behind the principal at the same time. This is space teleportation. It's actually a space-related ability. Our school has seen a treasure this time. The headmaster's tone was full of excitement. Times have changed. To become the head of a school, knowledge alone is not enough, but strength is also needed. For example, the principal Zhang in front of him is a high-level supernatural person, and in the Star City, his strength is second only to the consul. After all, the meaning of the school is extraordinary, and it needs the protection of the strong more than other places. With Principal Zhang's knowledge and experience, it is natural to see how much potential Su Ming's awakened abilities have. It's just that there are too few space-related abilities awakened, and the Alliance doesn't have much information. Although Principal Zhao's own strength is good, he doesn't know much about the unknown space. Chapter 4. Space Shift. Hearing Principal Zhang's words, Su Ming nodded in disbelief. Although he said that this was just a small branch of his ability, if the other party thought so, he didn't need to correct anything. In such an era, according to the essence of Go Dao, it is best not to let anyone know all of your abilities, you must be on guard against others. Although it is said that the main threat to human beings is alien beasts, the darkness between people also exists. After all, human nature is the most untestable thing. After Xiaolu took action, Principal Zhang and the Bald Dean were a little distracted, and Su Ming didn't bother to talk to them, so he might as well think about his own body. The awakening just brought him not only abilities, but also changes in his physical weakness. The previous feeling of weakness, with the beginning of awakening, he can obviously feel weaker. It was as if the mountain on his back had been removed. It can be seen from the initial low-level ability user level given by the system that this feeling is not an illusion at all. If my guess is correct, when the feeling of weakness completely disappears, my level of qi and blood cultivation may reach the level of elementary and advanced. I clenched my fist, feeling my strength, Su Ming thought with some excitement. Qi and blood training is a breakthrough to the limit of one's body, which has been under heavy pressure. Although there are no actual heavy objects, the pressure on the body does exist. Although it is forced to pay, it still pays off. I just don't know what it was that was oppressing my body before, and why it disappeared. There is no answer to this question on the system interface, and he can't figure it out now, so he can only let it go for now. Maybe when his strength improves, he can figure out the reason. The awakening ceremony is still going on. There are thousands of people in the third year of high school, and it won't be completed in a short while. One morning passed, and less than half of the people were awakened, most of them were F level, and there were not too many D level ones. From this point of view, Su Ming, a C level person, is a rare commodity. While taking a break, the awakening master also chatted with Su Ming for a while. The same sentence, the space attribute powers are too rare, Even the awakening master can't explain why. Just chatting and chatting will let it go. After leaving a sentence telling Su Ming to go to the Alliance branch, he continued to host the awakening. Today is the day for the awakening of abilities for the third year of high school. It can be said that the whole school is closed. After the awakening, you can choose to watch the awakening ceremony, or you can choose to go home for free activities. There are no hard and fast rules. In this regard, Su Ming naturally chose the latter, mainly because staying in school would not be of much use, and because the movement was relatively large, he would be caught asking questions. Just like Li Ming before, if Principal Zhang hadn't been by Su Ming's side all the time, that guy would definitely come over and say something weird. As a human being in 2 lifetimes, Su Ming is naturally not interested in being serious with this kid, and has received the memories of his previous life, but most of the memories are chaotic. He doesn't know much about the world now, so it's only a moment to avoid it for a while. Back in my little broken house, turning on the computer is a search. Combined with the knowledge in my mind, I have a deeper understanding of the world. It seems that I made the right choice not to tell Principal Zhang everything. This world is more dangerous than I thought. After all, it is a parallel world, and some situations from the previous life are also applicable here. Generally speaking, this is still the Earth, and the countries are still those countries. The difference is that due to the appearance of the alien beasts, some countries have disappeared, and alliances have been formed among the remaining countries, which has maintained a stability under the impact of the alien beasts. But what is more ridiculous is that the alliance formed has 5 headquarters, each of which exists in the powerful countries of the continent. It is said to be a united front, but in fact it is fighting on its own. And the dark side of human nature also exists naturally. At the stage when supernatural beings just appeared, there were a large number of people who were inflated by power, and there were countless things that bullied men and women. Until now, the alliance has appeared, and such things are still common, have happened. There are even more organizations formed by extremists. Apart from the alien beasts, human beings have to face internal enemies. In a word, in this world, the strong are respected. There is a certain order, but the order is easy to collapse. Without strength, you are likely to die without knowing how to die. Low-key. You must be low-key. Go Dao is the only truth for survival. Su Ming has already decided that in the future, she must develop insignificantly, so that she can stay out of her head if she can. But his decision was rejected in the next second, because whether it is a supernatural person or a cultivator, if he wants to improve his strength, he needs a lot of resources to accumulate. Most of the so-called resources are in the hands of the Alliance and some elites. If you want to obtain resources, you must show your value. Whether it is an alliance or a powerful family, they will not do good deeds for no reason. If you have no value to cultivate, who will use resources for you? Damn, I just wanted to sleep, but the pillow was taken away. I really can't understand the dictator's methods. It seems that the choice of the supernatural university should be carefully considered. Su Ming sighed and said, as far as he is at this stage, there are only 3 ways to obtain resources. One is to go to the Alliance for certification, and you can receive the most basic cultivation resources. The other is to choose a good supernatural university, receive systematic training, and fight for resources for yourself in it. The last one is to let others give you resources. In other words, you use your potential in exchange for the cultivation of yourself from above, but if you accept other people's resources, you are bound to the other party. You said you didn't feel anything, so you were sent to the student queue. At this moment, in the Star City Alliance branch, a man in a white coat looked at the awakening master in surprise and asked. Yes, I don't have any early warning or perception, nor any premonition, plus the movement caused by that student. I think it's not just as simple as sea level, so I want to hear your research institute's opinion. The awakener concealed how he was frightened by the fat woman, and said with an unchanged expression. Hey, you are a middle-level ability user who has fought with strange beasts. You have just awakened an ability, but you don't have the slightest reaction. How can this be AC level? Chapter 5. It wasn't until after 9 o'clock in the evening that Su Ming turned off the computer, gave birth to his right hand, and stared blankly at his palm. Of course, he is not in a daze, but feeling his own spatial abilities. If someone nearby observes carefully, he can clearly see the presence of a tesseract in the palm of Su Ming. As I expected, the so-called space teleportation is just one aspect of my ability, space control. In other words, I can manipulate the space to do anything I can think of, such as. Su Ming's eyes stayed on the hat hanging on the wall. Without any contact, the hat shattered into countless pieces and fell to the ground. If a space is broken, the objects that exist in this space will also be broken, but with my current ability, I can't maintain the brokenness. The repair ability of the space itself is too strong. Ability is a new thing for him, but space is no stranger to him. Among the novels he read in his previous life, those big writers have already helped him fully understand space. Since I can control the space, can I open up an exclusive space of my own? With a thought, the space in front of Su Ming began to distort. Countless planes originally existed in parallel, but now they are intertwined. When the distortion reached a certain level, a black hole appeared, and before Su Ming could infuse the space power into it, the black hole exploded instantly. It seems that it is still a little weak. It is a bit early to open up space. Su Ming was stunned and said, although he failed, he was not too entangled. He was thinking about opening up the space just after he got the space ability, so he was too ambitious. Putting away the ability, a sense of dizziness hits. The mobilization of the ability has consumption, not only the consumption of the ability itself, but also the consumption of energy. The consumption of the ability itself is not difficult to understand. In the final analysis, the so-called ability is the product of alien molecules absorbed by the human body. The amount depends on how many alien molecules you absorb. The strength of the ability depends on how you temper the ability. The consumption of energy is also easy to understand. The ability to exist in the human body is fixed, but if you want this energy to move, the principle of energy conservation requires you to apply an energy to the ability to make it move. This energy can only be provided by the body. The next day, Su Ming came to the school as usual. Although it is said that people who have awakened D-level abilities and above do not need to take the college entrance examination, but for those with abilities, there is still a process to enter the University of Abilities, to go. At the very least, you must first obtain the certification of the Alliance before you have a pass to enter the Supernatural University. Today is the unified certification of the awakened students by the Alliance. In addition, the Awakening Master ordered Su Ming to come to the school no matter what. The authentication process is very simple. It is to collect a drop of blood to make a microchip. This chip has detailed information on the awakened person, including the strength and type of the ability. Usually this chip does not have any function, nor does it emit any microwaves. It only provides an authentication function when the alliance is needed, which is equivalent to an ID card. Along the way, Su Ming could clearly feel that the eyes of the students around her looked at her differently, with all kinds of emotions. At the end of yesterday's day, there were thousands of people in the third year of high school, and less than 10 had a power rating of C level, and Su Ming was one of them. The first and second graders are fine, after all, they still have a chance to awaken, but for the third graders, the contrast is too great. There are many people who envy Su Ming C level, but more of them are jealous. If they are not afraid that his abilities are too powerful, some people may want to come up to vent their anger. Su Ming, come here, the Alliance wants to know something about you. Before Su Ming observed all kinds of living beings, the voice of the old class came. Since yesterday, as Su Ming's class teacher, Mr. Wang can be said to be very proud. Except for one C-level supernatural being in my class, this sense of accomplishment is no less than 2/3 of the class being admitted to a prestigious school. Quick, let me see your abilities. Space teleportation should be able to change my space position. As soon as he entered the principal's office, a blonde girl grabbed Su Ming's shoulder with excitement and said, his unrestrained enthusiasm and clothes almost made him lose control. In order not to embarrass herself, and to meet her needs, Su Ming threw it out directly. Although the range of 5 meters is not large, but he is right at the door now, and it is very easy to throw it out. Principal, was this just now? He didn't know anyone in the Alliance, so he had to ask the principal. Don't worry, they are from the Research Institute. They want to know about your abilities. You can communicate with them later. I am looking for you this time mainly to ask your thoughts on the University of Abilities. The principal waved his hand and said, The emergence of supernatural powers can change a person's body, and can instantly make an ordinary person have extremely high combat power, to much achievement. The Ability University is not only a place for resource allocation, but also a place to help you develop your own abilities. Although there are quite a few supernatural universities now, there are only 4 schools with complete development facilities, so if possible, I hope you can choose among these 4 schools. Of course, I won't hide it from you. It's selfish for me to let you compete with so many people with supernatural powers across the country. Regardless of whether you are admitted in the end, in addition to the resources promised by the school, I will give you enough remuneration. You don't need to give me an answer now, there is still time for college admissions, you can think about it carefully. The principal said slowly, there is no need for too much explanation, Su-ming probably knows the truth. Although it is said that they are all supernatural universities, the first 4 established will obviously not have the same status as the other schools. If he can enter one of them, it will have an extraordinary impact on Star City High School. Of course, it would be of great benefit to Su-ming if he could enter one of them. It's really amazing. I can't feel that the position has changed at all. Such an ability is absolutely impossible to be C level. At least it is above B level. The blonde girl who was thrown out by Su-ming before walked in and immediately broke the atmosphere created by Su-ming and the principal. No, you have to go back with us and reassess, there must be something wrong with that broken machine. The blonde girl said to herself, pulling Su-ming to leave, although she is good looking and has big headlights, but he doesn't need to be indifferent to her. Immediately moved behind the principal, the blonde girl took several steps before she realized it. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.